Hello there. Big 49ers updates. Kyle Shanahan just got done with his conference call, and I'm doing this in a much less formal setting today, recovering after the 49ers need some time to recover. They're going to try to recover at the Greenbrier, but boy, the injury list is lengthy. A lot of this news isn't good. First of all, Emmanuel Moseley confirmed out for the season, torn ACL. Now that we have that behind us, Jimmie Ward confirmed broken hand. He's going to have surgery on Tuesday, after which the 49ers will determine whether or not Jimmie Ward can return sooner rather than later wearing a club on the broken hand. But they won't be able to tell one way or the other until after Jimmie Ward has surgery. Nick Bosa, if there were 49ers practice today on Monday, Nick Bosa would not be able to practice because his groin is still hurting him. And that's, I think that's, the worst unknown news up until right now for the 49ers. This is off of Kyle Shanahan's conference call, because the thought was that Nick Bosa, was just kind of precautionary yesterday. Maybe he took himself out of the game. His brother had a groin injury and he's had to have surgery, so he's missing some time. So the thought was, okay, well, maybe Nick Bosa will be back sooner rather than later, meaning tomorrow or the day after that. And obviously the 49ers don't have practice today. But if there were practice today, Kyle Shanahan said Bosa was not feeling well enough. The groin was bothering him to the point that he would not be able to practice. So that's worrisome for the 49ers with Nick Bosa. For Robbie, Gould has that left knee contusion that he suffered on kick coverage. Well, with Robbie, we're just going to have to wait and see what the 49ers do this week as far as kickers. They're going to bring in kickers and work out kickers on Tuesday at the Greenbrier, where they're staying this week in West Virginia, because there's obviously a chance, based on what you saw yesterday from Robbie Gould limping around after getting decked on kick coverage, there's obviously a chance that Robbie Gould won't be ready to go for Atlanta. So the 49ers are going to have to make sure that they have contingency plans there. But I think, obviously, the biggest news of today was Emmanuel Moseley confirmed torn ACL. That's what the 49ers feared. They're going to have to get creative at that cornerback position. Now, Jason Verrett is warming up in the bullpen. And if Jason Verrett is able to prove through a couple weeks of practice here that he can withstand the rigors of a game, that he's back into tip-top shape after the ACL tear last year, Kyle Shanahan essentially said that Jason Verrett would be the 49ers cornerback. He's a big-time corner is what Kyle Shanahan said. We saw what he did in 2020. The question is, can Jason Verrett do that? I mean, he's already come back from so many catastrophic injuries. He's on the wrong side of 30. It gets harder every single time. I wouldn't bet against Jason Verrett because he's made of that kind of stuff and he's done it before. The 2020 season that he put on tape was one of the more impressive seasons that you'll see from a corner, but he's got to prove it again. And the 49ers right now have to have more plans than just Jason Verrett. You're on thin ice if you're just relying on Jason Verrett coming back from yet another ACL tear here, right? So they have Ambry Thomas on this roster. They have Deommodore Lenoir on this roster, but Lenoir got a little bit picked on. 10 catches, 124 yards that he gave up against the Carolina Panthers on Sunday. So they definitely identified Lenoir as a weakness. They went after him. So they also have Dante Johnson on this roster. Actually, Dante's the corner that Kyle Shanahan mentioned first outside of Jason Verrett today. So if you want a veteran stopgap, you go to Dante Johnson. And then obviously Samuel Womack III, the rookie. So a lot of youngsters, plus Dante Johnson, plus Jason Verrett in the bullpen. Somewhere out of that mix, you hope that you can build a bridge to get yourself to that next level if you're the 49ers. And you know what? They're in a lot better position than they were last year when they were running Drake Kirkpatrick and Josh Norman out there, right? So, I mean, now is better than 2021 by a mile. That's not saying too much because 2021 was very bad after Jason Verrett got hurt. But that's the plan for the 49ers at corner. The old plan, I thought, might have been to work Jason Verrett back in, and once you did, you would slide Emmanuel Moseley into the slot position. It's obviously not going to happen anymore. Moseley missed out on a lot of short-term money here. He was going to be a free agent. Obviously, he's not going to sign for as much money as he would have without an ACL tear. So there, might be a chance that the 49ers get him back on a prove-it deal. They got Jason Verrett back twice on prove-it deals because of situations like this one, right, in 2020 And then again here in 2022, Kyle Shanahan said that he really hopes that they can re-sign Emmanuel Moseley, let him take another crack at it next year. But you really feel for him. Emmanuel, undrafted free agent coming out of Tennessee in 2018, worked his way up the pecking order, really earned his spot, meritocracy kind of stuff, earned his spot with the 49ers, and then was blossoming into one of the better corners in the game this year in a contract year. So he was set up to really get paid, and then this happens, just, horrific injury luck. Speaking of bad injury luck, Jimmie Ward was out, right? So Jimmie Ward was out with a hamstring injury. And he came back for the 49ers, and he was on kick. He was on kick return, yeah, because the 49ers got the ball first. Or I don't know if he was on kick coverage or kick return for the 49ers, but either one, he played one special team snap, and it was Jimmie Ward's first snap of the season coming off the hamstring injury, and he broke his hand on the special team snap. Now, Shanahan said in true Jimmie Ward fashion, he refused to believe that it was broken. So Jimmie went back in there for one defensive snap where he played in that kind of nickelback position, right? Because Deshaun Gibson and Talanoa Hufanga stayed on the field. And after that snap, it became clear to Jimmie that his hand was actually broken and he couldn't play. But what a badass, right? Break your hand on kick coverage, which is, you got to be insane just to do kick coverage. I mean, you're running full speed. It's like a car collision with other players. Break your hand and then you say, screw it, I'm going to stay in the game. It's not really broken. So Jimmie did his best to stay in the game, but obviously broke his hand. He's going under the knife. Surgery tomorrow. Now, if it's in any way possible to play with a club on his hand, Jimmie Ward's going to do it. And that's what the 49ers are waiting to gauge right now. So a lot going on as far as these injuries go. Jimmie Ward might be back sooner rather than later. We don't know yet. Nick Bosa, who wouldn't have been able to practice today because his groin is bothering him. The 49ers hope he feels better later this week. But if I had a guess based on Shanahan's tone, Shanahan's demeanor today, we're not going to see Nick Bosa this week in Atlanta. That would be my guess. And, probably not on Jimmie Ward as well. I mean, even if he can wear a club, you'd think they'd probably sit him for 1 week. They wouldn't thrust him back in there against the Falcons. But then again, this stuff is really unpredictable. And the 49ers are reeling a bit from these injuries after this game against Carolina. But this is why you build a strong and powerful and deep roster, so that you're able to withstand as much of this as possible. And, that's one of the things. And you could check out the linked article and also check out Kyle Shanahan's conference call. We posted that up on the channel as well. But my linked article to that on The Athletic, it breaks down the snap counts at every single position, even the special team snap counts. So you can see Jimmie Ward's one snap there where he did break his hand. And that, we go through position by position how much of a team effort this was for the 49ers yesterday, because they started leaking oil with these injuries, and they responded by delivering on both sides of the football, right? Offense and defense for the 49ers took care of business yesterday, and they overcame some of these injuries, and they're going to have to overcome some more, although they have some time now to lick their wounds before they head down to Atlanta. Special teams, though, does have to be better for the 49ers. But, hey, the 49ers got a coach fired yesterday. Matt Rule, Carolina's former coach. I mean, he's no longer the coach. He's the former coach. They fired him. David Tepper, the owner, fired him today. One of the reasons why he said he was making a change is because he said there was too many red butts in the seats, too many 49ers fans at the stadium. That did not make the owner happy, so they just went ahead and fired their coach in Carolina. I can't remember the last time the 49ers, kind of directly got a coach fired. Got fired because of a poor track record, something like 12-26 over 3 years, but the coup de grace was the 49ers kicking the Panthers' ass yesterday. They did it even though they suffered all those injuries to Mosley, to Bosa, to Jimmie Ward. I mean, you can't make that up, coming off of IR, then breaking his hand on the very first play, to Robbie Gould. And now the 49ers will try to see what they can do moving forward to insulate themselves, flex their depth. There's a reason why they built a deep roster. This is war. You just got to keep on coming at them. Like Jimmy Garoppolo said yesterday, the train ain't stopping. It's football. You got to keep on moving forward. And to answer your question, Daniel, I just saw it down there. Who will be the starter at cornerback? We don't know who's going to be the starter yet. Eventually, they want Jason Verrett to be the starter. I don't think that's going to happen this week. They may run a little bit of an audition this week with some of those young guys at the position. So it's probably all open for the 49ers moving forward. All right, guys, everybody take care. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, check out the linked article, and also check out the Kyle Shanahan press conference. It's all on here. Hope you enjoyed the update. You probably didn't enjoy it because it's an injury update, but I hope that you found it useful, and I hope that you have a great Monday evening and afternoon. Take care, everybody.